ITV, certainly the best.
It is another beautiful Monday morning right here, and of course it's the first day of December 2025. It's already the Yuletide. The Yuletide is upon us, the season of celebration. But is it really the season of celebration with the spate of insecurity we've had in the country per time? It's a gloomy mood, but still it's the Yuletide, and this is how I welcome you to This Morning on ITV, on the ITV network. I am Chukwufum Nanya Digwe, and of course I'll be leading the conversation right here in our Benin Network Center. We're going to be delving into the twists and the turns, the ups and the downs of the ever-evolving political and social landscape of our dearly beloved country. Across our three network centers, Benin, Lagos, and Abuja, we're going to be giving very insightful and in-depth analysis of everything that takes the spotlight and, of course, matters. All right, this morning we are going to be looking at something that is in the front of us, like it's in our faces. It's undeniable, the spate of insecurity we've had in the nation. Of course, the appointment of the ambassadors by the President Tinubu, the 32 ambassadorial seats which he's come to bear per time. Just in a little bit, I will be introducing you to the anchors across our other network centers, Lagos and of course Abuja. I want you to buckle up. It's going to be a very insightful, informative and interesting time. We're going to have guests come into the studio with their insights. We're also going to take a review of the papers. Like I did say, it's going to be an interesting and of course insightful time. Meanwhile, though, we'll take a short intermission just as a breather, and then we'll be back to do the show proper. Stay with us.
For one small mechanic workshop for Benin, Oga Taye don dey hustle for long. Money till night, grease go full him hand, sweat go dey him face, but still, life hard. Life no easy at all for Oga Taye.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain, which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
Into the ever-evolving social and political landscape of our dearly beloved Nigeria. And of course, we'll be doing this across our 3 network centers here in Benin, Lagos, and of course, Abuja. I have my colleagues standing by to, of course, spearhead this conversation with me. I have Joseph Kadri in Abuja, and I also have Mercilina Onko in Lagos. Joseph Kadri, let's start from you. Good morning. It's a wonderful new month. How are you? And of course, how is Abuja this morning?
All right, a very good morning to you. Abuja is cool this morning, and of course it's the first day of the month, December, which is of course the last month in the year 2025. We thank God for coming this far. But however, so much to talk about on the program this morning. And of course, the issue of insecurity is top on the list. The more Nigerians talk about it, the more people are kidnapped. The more federal government deploy measures to tackle it, the more people are kidnapped. What is the issue? And of course, when people talk about it, the presidency's handlers or spokesmen are quick to respond. Of course, the one that the president talked about, Nigerians, of course, have the right to seek for foreign assistance when it comes to the issue of insecurity is within their right. And of course, the fact that he's urging the federal government to stop apologizing and negotiating with terrorists. I mean, Obasanjo has been there when it comes to the issue of security tackling. I mean, someone who is a general in the army and it has helped way in even the villa, and of course handling the armed forces knows that there are times that you need to go headlong and tackle the situation. For example, the president did talk about the fact that police will be withdrawn from VIPs, but as we speak, it appears the number attached to VIPs are on the increase. What does that mean? It means that there is need for him to pace up in terms of measures to tackle insecurity. And so, stop complaining, stop apologizing, and stop negotiating with bandits. That is one of the ways that the issues of insecurity can be tackled. And so when people talk about this, we should just accept it as presidency. When people elder statement talk about this, just applaud them for, giving you this kind of information and work towards handling the situation. Nigerians want to sleep with both eyes closed. Nigerians want to travel from the north to the southeast and to the west without the pang in their heart of being attacked and, of course, kidnapped. These are issues that we shall be interrogating in the course of the program here in the Abuja Network Center.
Thank you so much, Joseph. We also have in Lagos, Mercilina standing by. Mercilina, happy new month. Good morning. Tell me, how are you and how is Lagos this morning?
Good morning, Chuka. Good morning, just surgery. I mean, Lagos, it's beautiful. I'm not on here in the studio. May Patricia, good morning.
Good morning, Mercy. It's good to see you.
I mean, I missed you.
I missed you too.
Welcome back. All right, it's a beauty here in Lagos. I mean, it is the first month of the Masters close. It said, what has been country, the issue of insecurity last week because of the weekend. We saw what have been going on, insecurity, the government with bandits, and a lot of people talking, are we supposed to be treating the bandits at this level? The youth come help us here in Nigeria. Insecurity is a major problem. Because that is not our focus today from Lagos. We're going to be talking about the newly fresh appointed ambassador by our president, 32 ambassador by our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It means for Nigeria, at first post we know that ambassador there, the one that is representing that abroad of that, what it means for Nigeria at this point. The issue of insecurity is, we still wake morning to hear different stories, see things on the internet. We are not able to sleep with our two eyes closed. We're still scared. What we need advice. Will it help? This 32 ambassador that has just been appointed president, will it help at this point? We need to tackle insecurity. So our main focus today is the new 32 appointed ambassador by our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What it means for Nigeria at this point that we are facing insecurity. And we've seen that a lot of person like Obasanjo, a lot of person that be coming out to talk about this issue of insecurity. How do we tackle it in Nigeria, Patricia?
I mean, messy. It's been lingering insecurities. We also saw stories and pictures of people that were kidnapped in Kogi's pastor and his wife. And we also saw the one in, I think somewhere in a the pregnant woman and her husband.
Yeah.
It's becoming a big, and like you said, it's not our main focus in Lagos this morning. We'll be talking about the ambassadors that were appointed. Yeah. What difference would this bring for this insecurity problem? That's what we'll be looking at this morning.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Joseph. And of course, Mercelina and Pat there in Lagos. Mercy said she misses you and then she has to have you. And now I get to miss you here in Benin. Well, our crux for our conversation this morning, President Bola Tinubu forwarded 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate, a mix of career diplomats and political appointees. Of course, you get to see that this ambassadorial list has provoked criticism and concerns about quality and geopolitical balance across zones. Also, we'll be talking about Nigeria and its experience on the insecurity this 2025, prompting federal action. Tinubu declared a nationwide security emergency and ordered mass recruitment to bolster security services. All this and many more are going to form the crux of our conversation on TMI on the ITV network. We have a lot to talk about. Do stay tuned. Up next is our newspaper review segment, still on the program. Stay with us.
Are you passionate about civic?
Welcome back, and if you're just joining in, this is This Morning on ITV on the ITV network. We're still talking the ever-evolving social and political landscape of Nigeria. Of course, we're right now in our newspaper review segment where we get to look across the papers and see what the happenings actually are right now. We'll start from our first point of call, which happens to be The Guardian newspaper. A major headline there says 42,000 schools still vulnerable despite $30 million Safe School funds. And that one is on page 6. You get to see that on page 6. If you grab a copy, you get to see more on that story. Let's get to see the next newspaper this morning. The Nation is the next point of call. On the Nation newspaper, its headlines, it's now total war on terrorists. Airstrikes pound criminals in Katsina, Borno, abductions in Kogi, Kwara, Sokoto. That one is on page 4. Also on The Nation, Osun ex-SSG Adeoti dumps Aregbesol's group, intrigue over 2026 tickets. Also on The Nation, Dangote pumps 50 million liters of petrol per day into markets. That one is on the business scene. We also see on The Nation newspaper, how to halt escalating insecurity, build nationhood by Bakare. On page 5, you get to grab a copy of those newspapers and see the stories in total. We'll move on to our next point of call, which happens to be the Punch newspaper. Headline there, NNPCL battles 8 trillion naira outstanding debt. That one is on The Nation, on the Punch newspaper, pardon. Also a headline, bandits kidnapped 400 in 2-week rampage. Those are some stories you get to see on the Punch newspaper. Now let's move on to our next point of call. The next one is Vanguard newspaper. One headline there is on insecurity. Bandits unleash terror in Kogi, Kano, Sokoto, Kwara. Nigerian schools need security education now, Laureate Soyinka says. Be courageous to tackle insecurity, reconcile Nigerians. Bakare tells Tinubu will rescue all Ejiba church victims. Kogi government says. Niger kidnappings. Church confirms 4 children of catechists among victims. That story, of course, is on page 6. You get more on Vanguard newspapers. You see FDI loses ground despite surge in inflows. Also on Vanguard newspaper, presidency to Obasanjo. Terrorism took root under your watch. That is such an interesting story to get to see. Also on Vanguard newspaper, ambassador designate. Mixed reactions trail Ikpeazu, Ugwuanyi, others nomination. Also on Vanguard, Abacha loots. EFCC seizes Malami's passports. Also on Vanguard, you see Olusosun, Solo's landfill to be shut in 18 months. Those are some stories on Vanguard. Looking into more stories, you see new tax regime may trigger capital flight. Ex-NICOM chair says, and that particular one is on page 8. Also on Vanguard newspaper, you see delayed trials undermine rule of law. Who says that? Governor Yusuf, and you get to see that on page 13, all on the Vanguard newspaper. Our next point of call right now is Telegraph newspaper. Telegraph headlines there, still on the case of insecurity in the country. Gunmen abduct pastor, wife, others in Kogi church, bridesmaid in Sokoto. Going on, it says religious leaders should stop gathering worshippers in unsafe locations. Bandits demand 150 million naira ransom on Kwara Monarch. Kebbi police foil bandits attack, recover 141 wrestle livestock, motorcycles. How to tackle security challenges by Tukar Gambari. All of that is on New Telegraph. Also, in the business scene on New Telegraph, you see Dangote refinery to supply 1.5 billion liters of fuel monthly. Also on New Telegraph, Delta North leaders rejects proposal to add Anyoma State to Southeast. That one, of course, is on page 6. Also, on the foreign scene, Guinea-Bissau coup, sanction election riggers as well. Obi tells ECOWAS. That's actually Obi's comment on the recent coup going on in Guinea-Bissau that has heralded the failed elections, I would say. Also on New Telegraph, you see state-owned airlines signpost new era in Nigerian aviation. And still on insecurity, it's shameful. NAS playing politics while U.S. Congress tackles action on killings. Bakari says that one. It goes on to say rising insecurity, resigns clamor for state police. Well, these are the stories on New Telegraph newspapers. Now moving on, we see Daily Sun. Daily Sun says, kidnapped schoolgirls, parents seek God's help. Hold marathon prayers in Niger. Beg Tinubu Bago to act fast. It's a crux of the conversation in many spaces right now, the security challenges in Nigeria. Also on Daily Sun, this one is on the business space. It says Dangote Refinery to supply 1.5 billion liters of petrol monthly. Reuters NMDPRA engages marketers to stabilize fuel markets. That one is on page 6. Also on Daily Sun, you see Yuletide, demand for cash surges amid fears of network glitch. There is sufficient cash, flawless digital platforms, bank chiefs assure. Also on Daily Sun, ambassadorial appointment, its political settlement, says the ADC. Tinubu exercised his prerogative. Ex-minister envoy says also on the ambassadorial appointment. That's on page 27 of Daily Sun. Also on Daily Sun, you see state creation, Southeast stakeholders settle for Anyoma State. Anyoma cedes Asaba, supports Olu as proposed capital. That's on page 6. On insecurity, it says on page 26, suspend all non-essential gathering now, Bakare tells federal government. Also on Daily Sun, Abacha, $490 million loot probe. EFCC seizes former AGF Malami's passport. Of course, you get to see that story on page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Well, that's a wrap on Daily Sun. We move now to Nigerian Tribune. Where it says, still on insecurity, bandits strike in Kogi as troops thwart terrorist attack in Chibok, others, and you get to see that one on page 12. Well, those are the stories on our national dailies, and you get to read more about it if you grab yourself a copy of any of these newspapers. Once again, it's still TMI on the ITV network. It's going to be a very interesting and insightful time where we get to delve into the issues that are dominating our social spaces right now. Well, I will take a short break as an intermission, and we'll be back with more. Do stay with us.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contacting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
to TMI on the ITV network. Of course, we're still reviewing the issues that are, you know, very overwhelming in our social spaces right now, our political landscape also. Of course, we did take the newspaper review segment, but our guest reviewer is now with us, the person of Dr. Dan Ekeraife, the HOD, Mass Communication Department at the University of Benin. Of course, he is here with us to take a look at the papers and give us his very insightful analysis on each and every one of them that we've gotten to look at this morning. A very wonderful morning to you, Dr. Dan. I'll also say happy new month to you. It's a pleasure to have you join this morning.
Good morning. Happy new month to you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
All right, so we're experiencing some technical glitches, but despite that, I hope that we could get him in full course very soon. He's going to be reviewing the papers for us. Okay, he's going to be reviewing the papers for us and also, you know, getting to tell us his insights on the papers that we've taken, you know, before now. So let's get to hear your insights on the stories on the Nigerian Tribune. We see that insecurity is at the forefront there. Bandit strike in Kogi has stripped SWAT terrorist attack, and in Chibok others. That's on page 12, and some other stories. Let's get to know your insights, Dr. Dan.
The two headlines you have just read is that we're going to continue to experience cases of insecurity as the 2027 election gets closer. If you follow the trajectory of our political system in the last 15 years, one of the things you will observe is that we're now using security as a measure of politics. Why did I say this? You recall that when Jonathan came and he was interested in seeking a second term in office, people created insecurity as a way of discrediting his administration. So I am saying now that in this current government, he is going to experience more of insecurity, going by the type of politics we play in this country. Politicians are not concerned about the lives of citizens. They are more interested in power gain. And any strategy they can use in grabbing power, they will want to take advantage of that. So what you are seeing is a reflection of it. Again, that these things are happening very close to us here in Kogi. If you study ISWAP very well, majority of the members of ISWAP emanated from Okene area of Kogi State. So you continue to have issues of this nature. Are you hearing me?
We've gotten a technical glitch. However, we'll also like to get your insights later on the other papers right here. We have the Guardian newspaper, and a spotlight there is 42,000 schools still vulnerable despite $30 million Safe School funds. That is on page 6. Also on the Guardian, you get to see the School Dance Tunes Trail Tinubu's ambassadorial list. That's on news page 3. Also, fresh abductions, killings, test Tinubu security emergency, heighten anxiety. That's on news page 6 also. You also see on the business scene, Dangote Refinery to supply 1.5 billion liters of PMS monthly. Hopefully we'll get to have the insights of Dr. Dan on that particular paper.
Okay. One of the things you will observe about us is that when there are emergencies, we will always respond. I'll take it back. When we had Ebola, there was a spontaneous response. When COVID-19 came, we had a response. When the former Minister of Finance was still in office, I mean, President of the government made a effort to provide safety for secondary schools. So you realize that after the hue and cry about insecurity around school, the school system faded away, we took our minds off that. That is why you realize that cases of kidnapping in school has not abated. In Jonathan government, we had 1. In Buhari government, we had about 6. And in the Tinubu government, we've had about 5 now. What does that tell you? Where is the security arrangement for all of these? If Dangote Refinery will provide 1.2 million liters of fuel for Nigerians for every month, it's a sign that we're going to have stable power supply as the usage season gets closer. And we think that the saboteurs will not come up with something or use them.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Dan, on that one. I think we did review the Guardian newspaper. Now let's move on to the next newspaper. This morning, we'll be looking at The Nation. The Nation says right there, its major headline, it's now total war on terrorists. Airstrikes pound criminals in Katsina, Borno, abductions in Kogi, Kwara, Sokoto. Also on The Nation, Osun ex-SSG Adeoti dumps Aregbesol's group intrigue over 2026 tickets. That one is on page 29. Also on the business scene, Dangote pumps 50 million liters of petrol per day into the market. Also on The Nation, Tinubu Audu left a template for good governance in Kogi. Tinubu did say that. And also on page 5, how to halt escalating insecurity, build nationhood, and that's by Bakari. Of course, Dr. Dan, let's get your thoughts on this.
When the president declared war on terror or insecurity, people saw it as welcoming. But what are the governors? Last week, there was a meeting in Abeokuta by the southern governors on how to tackle the rising insecurity. One of the questions I asked myself was, why did they wait till now before such a meeting was called? Today, many states have what you will call a semblance of state police. Why is the government afraid of translating these military agencies or armed agencies to full first state police? Government can only get it right if there is a coordinated effort. The idea of the federal government working and the states are doing their own cannot get the type of result we want. What we need, I have been emphasizing this, state police. If there is a coordinated effort between the police and even community police, what we're going to get is that you are going to get the right security. So now that the president has declared a war on insecurity, there should be coordinated effort on the part of the state governors to get this right. There are stories that some governors are behind this. If you follow the stories that flew last week, where the DSS alleged that 50 million of the ransom paid was found in the hands of somebody, which means some of these government agents are in all of this. What the government needs to do is to track cases of transfer related to ransom payment. And even when ransoms are paid, I would have expected the police to follow up on the cause, the call log of the individuals that were involved. Why have they not done all of this? Sometimes you realize that there is more of talk than action. And if we begin to talk, walk the talk, we may not get the type of result we want. All the other stories you have raised related to the economy, related to supply, they all boils down to the kind of security we have. If security, people will not be able to travel. That type of system we want will not work for us. All hands should be on deck to get these things right.
Dr. Dan, just before we call it a wrap on the newspaper review segment, there's something that has also formed the crux of conversation and has it's been dominating the papers this morning. I did take it before your arrival on the program this morning. The 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate by President Bola Tinubu. What are your thoughts on this particular story?
Yes, you ask yourself, why should some of those individuals form the list? I don't want to be specific. Those who we have known to be known liars are being nominated to be ambassadors. Some of them are failed politicians in the real sense of the word. They had positions before. What level of performance did they bring into governance? For me, some of the members in this list, or on the list, were persons who were appointed to settle, will I call it political patronage, not the level of competence of the individual. I must tell you, some individuals on that list need to be removed if we must get serious with what we are doing. Why I'm particularly worried is that there's a particular candidate on that list who was accused recently of lying about his security and all the rest. So those are the type of persons we are nominated to be ambassadors. So what kind of diplomatic relationship would they foster with us and other nations? For me, those who nominated those individuals are doing more political patronage than serving the interests of Nigerians. Some of them need to be looked at a second time.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Dan, HOD Mass Communication Department at the University of Benin, for your very, very valuable insights. Thank you so much. Of course, this is still TMI on the ITV network. Next is the second leg, or is it one of the legs of our conversation, which is our hook, the discussion segment. We'll be talking about the 32 ambassadorial nominees forwarded to the Senate by President Bola Tinubu, and of course, its political impact on our society, and of course also the insecurity in our country per time, and Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president's comments on this. Stay with us. It's promising to be a very insightful time. We'll be back.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining in, this is TMI on the ITV network. Of course, this is our discussion segment on the program where we get to have a very insightful guests join us to talk about conversations that have trailed our social space in the country. Now, President Bola Tinubu forwarded 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate, a mix of career diplomats and political appointees. The ambassadorial list has provoked criticism and concerns about quality and geopolitical balance across zones. That's one point of conversation. Also, Nigeria is experiencing a sharp escalation in insecurity this 2025, prompting a federal action. Now, Tinubu declared a nationwide security emergency and ordered mass recruitment to bolster security services. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo publicly criticized the federal government's handling of insecurity and urged a stop to negotiation with terrorists. Now, his comments drew a strong response from the presidency. The surge in attacks is aggravating humanitarian crisis. UN WFP warnings about sharply rising hunger driven by insurgency and aid cuts. Of course, these are the two points of talking points we're having on the program this morning. And of course, joining me to talk about this, I have on standby Pius Oiwo, who is a former NBA Benin chairman, and he's joining virtually from Benin. He's going to be with me talking about these two conversations. Good morning, a happy new month to you, and welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure to be on this program. Thank you and happy new month. I appreciate you.
All right, it is my pleasure also to have you. One point of call this morning on the program is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 32 appointees forwarded to the Senate. There's a lot of talk around this. There's a lot of conversation. People are saying, one, is it the right time? People are saying, two, geopolitical zoning. They're saying it's irrational. There's a lot of talk, but I want to know, what is your own point in this particular conversation? Do tell.
Well, I want to say that granted that the appointment of or designation of diplomats, I mean, the ambassadorial nominee is something that should be looked at this particular time, or should be looked at if at all. The timing, there can never be a better time than this, because there have been a growing condemnation and criticism of the delay in appointing ministerial, these ambassadorial nominees. You will agree with me that we've had a lot of diplomatic dysfunction and then disconnect, and this has strained our relationship with the international communities. And as such, it becomes very pertinent. There have been a lot of growing concern for there to be an appointment of the diplomats, the ambassadors, to represent Nigeria, who are like our representatives in the foreign mission. Yes, it is coming late, because this would have been done long ago. And there have been, if you have been following the trend in our newspapers, in social media platforms, people have been condemning and criticizing the government for its inability to get this done. Perhaps we had thought that the government was taking its time to get round pegs in the round holes, and the square pegs in square holes too. But again, at this particular point, it will appear that yet there are criticisms about those who have been so designated or have been nominated to occupy these offices. To start with, it will appear that some geopolitical zones, some states, some interests are not well represented in this arrangement. That again is creating serious cause for concern and worry. So we want to urge on the federal government, just as they did with the constitution.
Analysts also joining virtually from Benin. Good morning, Matthew. Like I did say, we have Matthew Edegase. He is a political analyst and lawyer. He's joining virtually from Benin on the program to talk about these issues with us. Good morning, happy new month, and welcome to the program. Forming one part of our conversation this morning is the President's 32 ambassadorial nominees, the political balance. There's a lot of talk around it. First, I want to gain your insights before we go further.
The ambassador policy, but I'm not surprised. This government has shown lack of interest in doing things in proper manner. It's not just starting. First was the subsidy removal, which was ill thought out. That has damaged the economy extensively. We are still suffering the impacts of that subsidy removal. Even though we are aware that there is still subsidy in the way. But what we are suffering is the impact of the pronouncements. On this ambassadorial nominee, some of the names we are seeing there, they are nothing but an embarrassment to the Nigerian people. And I am not sure they are going to represent the country in a very good light. I will mention names there. For instance, Omokri. Omokri have been very, very vocal in defending whatever is wrong with these governments. Although ambassadors are described people who go out of the country to lie on behalf of their home governments, but the kind of lie that will embarrass Nigeria and the entire international community should not be encouraged. For instance, not too long before now, a few weeks ago, Omokri has said there was no genocide in Nigeria. And that is enough for any responsible government to be very far away from such character. Not making him the poster boy, the face of the government, of the administration, and by extension, the face of Nigeria. We are going to indulge ourselves in a game of contradictions. While the Nigerian government is struggling to make peace with America by way of trying to synergize and work with the American authorities to fight the insurgency, which is the foundation for all the problems. There's somebody who is likely to tell the world that there is no problem in Nigeria, that everything is under control. It's not the right signal that we should send at these troubled times. Ambassadors are supposed to project the nation a good light in terms of international policies. And we don't even know whether Nigeria has a viable international policy as speak. That was why the president could comfortably sit down for close to 2 years without having any ambassador representing Nigeria in any part of the world. Nigeria is operating as if it is operating outside the international community. And I think that's the interest of this government who want to shield the world away from what is happening in Nigeria. And if eventually it was pushed to do what it's doing now, he did it upside down. He's sending the people who will help him to cover what is happening in Nigeria. And that will not in any way help the system and the people of Nigeria. It will not help his regime in the long run, because the problem in Nigeria is overwhelming him already. If his priority is to cover up the problem instead of crying out for help before the international community, which he needs desperately, Nigeria needs help in terms of security crisis. Covering it up will lead to implosion, and implosion will also attract the attention of the world when he must have lost control of the situation. And I hope it doesn't get to that point.
All right, Edegase. One thing that I pulled out from your discourse, you did talk about the nominees or the nominations being a caricature of what should be, but I'm pretty sure the presidents must have weighed the pros and the cons before coming up with this particular list. Now, on your discourse, I want to ask you, what specific patterns of imbalance or patronage do you see? You talked about Reno Omokri, you know, being one square peg in a round hole, but what really are the patterns of imbalance and patronage that you can highlight or spotlight in this particular nominee list?
Speaking of the geographical spread in terms of federal character and all of that, you can see it is lopsided. It is lopsided. I think the Southwest has the lion's share, followed by maybe the North. And again, the South-South is left out. It's left out. Because if we are looking at a nation that is in pursuit of unity, we should not continue to make appointments that suggest that some people are more Nigerians than others. So that is what this list again reflects as is with other appointments before now. This government is not pretending to be a sessional government. In every step it takes, preference is given to certain regions and peoples. And Nigeria is not a divided nation by policy, as they claim, but by action, I think the division is very visible and highly promoted by this administration. It is not balanced. The list doesn't show fairness.
All right, thank you so much for your insights there. I still have Pius Oiwo standing by. I want to
at this
hear
stage of our
more
national
on your thoughts
crisis,
on the nominee list, the ambassadorial nominee list put out for the Senate confirmation by the president. I asked one question to Edagase. I asked him what is the real imbalance he sees. He talked about the geopolitical zoning, but I want to hear from you. In your view, what are the negatives in this list? What really has riled people up, you know, as regards the nominee list of the president?
Yes, I think I was making the point.
If you look at the...
I was making the point before.
Hello?
I was, the network got being interrupted. The truth must be told that in that list, which was coming very late, however, it is better late than never, that some geopolitical zones were not well adequately captured or represented. Some states too were not. And then the quality of persons. You know, an ambassador is someone who is like an image to a country, particularly for Nigeria, which is battling seriously with image, with its integrity and then its image. America has already christened us as one of the countries of great particular concern. So it becomes very important that we put out our first 11, like the footballers will say, our best, so that they'll be able to represent our nation, our country in good light. And then they'll be able to also make up for the lost time. One would have expected this administration, with the greatest respect, to have had this appointment early enough before now, not when the criticisms had begun to come up that, look, we are having some diplomatic frictions with some other nations of the world. Now that we are getting it right, which I must commend Mr. President for, because like I said, it is better late than never, we must take out time to bring out the best persons who do not have integrity issues, persons who have experience in terms of relating with other nations, those who have experience in international affairs, those who do not have baggages, so that we're able to get it right. And we have been talking about insecurity. My brother just talked about it, and I think it is important that now that I have the network at to my advantage to be able to express this, that we cannot talk about security enough. People have been talking about rejigging and trying to like get the security apparatus right. It will appear that each time we try to change the service chiefs, we try to do take some other measures. These do not tend to like achieve the result. Now that Mr. President has ordered the recruitment of a reasonable number of Nigerians into the armed forces, the police, it is a step in the also ordered the withdrawal of security personnel from VIPs. That again is a very welcome development. You will observe that some of our VIPs have as much as even 10 policemen attached to them. To me, that attracts a lot of unnecessary attention to such persons, and I wonder why you will have these persons among them. But that again should not stop these persons if they feel that they really want security personnel around them, to get higher private security to be able to work for them. But these policemen are paid from taxpayers' money, and then you observe that they also, from the information I have at my disposal, they also pay the persons who have applied for this security personnel, also pay into the police reward funds, such funds, money that will guarantee them having such security men around them. They also pay the policemen, and they also pay those who have made it possible for them to. But here are Nigerians who are vulnerable. who are unable, who do not have policemen like me and you yourself, and then some of us who are in the kind of walking about to make both ends meet. We do not have policemen around us, and we do not attract unnecessary attention to ourselves. But sincerely, if we have policemen, security, that is soldiers, and then of course members of the armed forces around us, we'll be able to make inroads, and then some of this insecurity we are talking about would have been taken care of to a large extent. And an area that I think that government should also invest in, which I believe that government has not done well in, is in the area of technology to combat insecurity. I used to wonder how it is possible that bandits will storm the whole environment and carry as much as over 300 persons under the face of this earth, under the Nigeria airspace, and then nobody is able to identify these persons. And then bandits relate and interact with their the families of their victims, and then monies are made to exchange hands. Of course, we expected that under this regime of cashless kind of payment, cashless economy, that some of these things would have been minimized, but it will appear that there have been a kind of an upsurge of the banditry and insecurity in our society. So there must be a deliberate attempt or deliberate effort by government. Government must be very deliberate in ensuring that they invest in the area of technology to combat insecurity. Because, for instance, use of drone. Some states have attempted. I know that Edo is also into some of this, and then forests.
So Pius, just before we get to talk some more about insecurity, you've already included that in the discourse, of which we're going to have to talk about that, especially spotlighting the recent comments on insecurity by the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. Being that I'm talking to a seasoned legal practitioner, I'd want to ask one more question about the ambassadorial list. I'm talking to Pius right now about the ambassadorial list of the president. We've talked about the imbalance in geopolitical zoning, but I want to know, is there any specific constitutional rule that says ambassadorial nominees must reflect the federal character of Nigeria, or is it just a political expectation or tradition and not a strict constitutional command? Are we just saying this because we feel it is what should be, or is it something that constitutionally should be? Pius.
Well, I am aware of that of ministerial nominees, which the Constitution makes provision for, who must come from every state of the Federation. I'm also aware that the Federal Character Commission is a creation of the Constitution. And as such, this Federal Character Commission requires that, look, every state must enjoy a level of representation in terms of appointment, in terms of employment, and in terms of engagement. So this is one of such areas that enjoys constitutional recognition. And as such, if we must get it right, we must abide by the letters and spirits of the Constitution, which makes it mandatory that every state, every geopolitical zone must enjoy representation in terms of appointment, in terms of
Thank you so much, Pius, for your insights on that. We deeply appreciate you. We'll take a short break now, and after which we'll move on to our next talking point, which is the comments of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo on the security situation in the country, and we'll get to have the insights of our very, very informative guests. Do stay.
ITV. ITV. ITV, certainly the best.
And if you're just joining in, this is TMI on the ITV network. We've been talking about, first we talked about the nominees on the ambassadorial positions by the president, which has been forwarded to the Senate. And also this second leg, we're going to be talking about the comments of the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, on the security situation in Nigeria. He said that Nigerians have a right to seek help from the international community if the government fails to protect citizens from ongoing insecurity. And he's also asked the government to stop negotiating or apologizing to terrorists and armed criminal groups. According to him, these negotiations amount to weakness. We still have our guests standing by. We have Matthew Edegase, who happens to be a policy analyst and, of course, a lawyer. And I also have the former NBA chairman of Benin, Pius Oiwo, standing by. We've been having such a great conversation. And now I want us to talk about this thing that is in our faces, is the crux of conversation in so many spaces. And now someone very important has joined the conversation. I want you to critique his stance on this particular issue. I'll start from Matthew Edegase. Obasanjo, former president, has come out to lay bare his own thoughts on this. Negotiating is weakness. We have a right to come out and talk to the international community. But what are your own views? Do tell.
Yes, what the ex-president said, Olusegun Obasanjo, is in line with what everybody has been saying. 99% of the Nigerian citizens, except those who are terrorist sympathizers, have agitated against this whole policy of granting amnesty to terrorists and bandits who have wreaked havoc on the system by killing people and spilling the blood of innocent Nigerians. Everybody has kicked against it, except very few persons who are profiting from the chaos. Obasanjo said the truth that should be told. And the international community is supposed to be there to help when a nation becomes helpless, as Nigeria has now become. A nation that has made the negotiation with terrorists and placating the killers of the citizens is obviously becoming a weak nation, if not a failed nation. Because I do not know why the defense and protection of the lives and citizens of Nigeria and property is not taking a backstage. It is how to make terrorists happy, how to make them not to be angry, that has not become the policy of this administration. It is annoying, it is provocative to every sane individual. As we have all witnessed, the terrorists are operating without let or hindrance. They move from one territory to another. They have now become so powerful that they go to schools, cut away humans as if you are taking chicken away from poultry farm, as many as 300, 200. This is the number that can make a human community settlement. They cut them away as if we have no security agencies in this country. We have a military. We have Air Force. The Army is there. The Navy is there. The Civil Defense is there. The DSS is there. In the face of all of this, these hoodlums or terrorists operate with impunity, as if that is not terrible enough. A few days ago, we heard from the spokesperson to the government, Onanuga, saying that they have a hotline with which communicate with terrorists. They exchange communication, they exchange contacts, and they have agreed to bring back some of the people they kidnapped after serious discussion with government. That itself is very terrible thing to hear. Why the government claim to be fighting terrorism and terrorists, and most of the time they say they need information as to where these people, these terrorists are. The citizens should volunteer information to help them to fight terrorism. We later discovered that they are actually doing shadow boxing. They are not fighting terrorism. If you have these people contact, according to it, they know where they are. They don't want to use kinetic force so that there will be no collateral damage. But you have their contacts. You speak with them. You know their location. Before they operate, you know, it means you know where they are, where they launch their operations from. And you also know where they return to after their operations. You know where they keep their victims. You know where they sit back and make calls for ransom. And I would not want to believe that ransom will not pay by government to these people, because the essence of dialogue with the terrorists is to meet their needs and their demands. And the terrorists came up with a video thereafter, a few days after that speech, to say that the government begged them. They agree on terms. That was how they released against the kidnap at Kebbi. But as we speak, other kidnapped Nigerians are still in the kidnappers' den and terrorists' den, the camps. The one they kidnapped at the Catholic school in the Niger State. I'm not aware they have returned them. So when you begin to negotiate with terrorists and you are saying you do not want international help, I think you are either sabotaging your own system, or you are colluding with the enemy of the state.
Many thanks, Matthew Edegase, for your insights so far on this issue of the former President Olusegun Obasanjo bringing to bear his own insights, his own views on the recent insecurity challenges bedeviling the country. I'd also like to talk to Pius Oyewo. I want to know, from... Okay, I think we've got him cut off. We're staying with you, Matthew. From a legal perspective, does a former president calling for foreign intervention, does it have any constitutional weight? Because he is someone at the helm of affairs, a very important person, a VIP in the country's runnings, coming out to say it's not so bad that the nation has to call for foreign intervention. Does it have any constitutional weight?
The constitution of a nation that talks about sovereignty. Sovereignty is not absolute. Once terrorists have now found a haven, a permanent safe haven in any location in the world, it becomes an international problem. Don't forget that Osama bin Laden was chased to Afghanistan. From there, he fled to Pakistan, yes. The American Naval Sea, they went there to hit him. The ISIS were operating in Syria, and they almost were taking up territories there. And they were beheading people and sending video to the whole world. It was the same during the first administration of this present American president, Donald Trump, that he sent down Naval Seal, and they hunted down the leader of ISIS, and they obliterated them. Today, they are ineffective. They are now operating in hideouts, and they are no longer powerful. So the question of sovereignty, constitutional whatever, does not prevent the people from being saved when they are facing annihilation and doom. Nigerian citizens are the owner of the sovereignty of this country, not the government. If the sovereign is under attack and they are helpless, are you suggesting that when your house is on fire, your neighbor who has goodwill tells you should not come and help you put out the fire because you are the landlord and you own your territory? Don't forget that if your house, the inferno escalates, it can extend to the next compound. So it behoves our international community or foreign interests to come and help you when you are helpless. because their failure to help you could lead to escalation. And when there is an explosion, imagine the refugee crisis that will result in Nigeria goes up in flames. And Nigeria are not going to migrate to other countries. Are they not going to cause problem to those people? So it's better to put on the fire while it's here to expand than waiting for it to go in full circle. That is just it.
All right, thank you so much, Matthew Ederase, for your comments on this. Just to wrap it up, the state of insecurity in Nigeria, what should be done, in your view, from the legal view? What should be done before we do wrap it up? Very short comments, please.
Are you still talking to me?
Yes, of course.
Yes. What we need to do is what the international community, the truth they told us that we are afraid to tell ourselves. They are talking about the leadership now because the citizens of Nigeria have told the leadership before now. They pretend not to hear. They are listening now because it's coming from a man who has power to enforce his will, Donald Trump. That is why they are pretending to be solving the problem. They are still not solving it. Because even in the midst of that American intervention threat, they still have the window to negotiate with terrorists and be dialoguing with them instead of confronting them. So, speaking from my heart, this government has to be sincere. They have the will. They have the capacity. It is the will that they are lacking. They should deploy the will and ensure that these terrorists are dealt with the way terrorists are dealt all over the world. Terrorists have no soul. So you cannot be discussing with soulless demons whose only source of happiness is the killing of fellow human beings. They are beasts, and you don't discuss with beasts. You tame them.
Let you go. There is something that's been in the crux of conversation in many social spaces, and it would be an error not to address it right here on the program. The presidency did come out to give their own review of the situation and comments on the reactions of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo on the insecurity bedeviling the country. And they said it's begun since his own time, since Olusegun Obasanjo's tenure. The issue of insecurity has been at the forefront. What do you make of this?
That is a very lame and dumb excuse. Problem can start. Every problem has a history. The solution is what we're after, not the history of the problem. If the problem is not there, we won't be talking of looking and finding a solution to it. This government is not elected to lament and to point our attention to how it all began. It is there to give us hope and a direction. Blaming the past administration for the problem of the present day Nigeria is not a thing we should condone. We have the military. International community have offered to help. That should let us fight. We are lacking capacity. We should allow them to help. Our volunteer to help. For the origin of the problem is there ahead of there. It is the way of the problem, and they are all willing to do. Let them fight. The terrorists solve the problem and secure the nation. That is the duty of government. In power, it's not the duty of the government that will be power. It is a present problem, and there's a present mandate given to function as a government. So they throw their hands in the air. Obasanjo was there to do it. If you know you are going to end up not doing it, I think the proper thing to do is to resign. Throw the towel, let those who can do it step forward. That is just it. There's no middle way.
But what do you make of the fact that there is also discourse? You've already talked about how constitutional it is for a former president to come out and give these comments. But I want to talk about the effect to Nigeria's sovereignty. Is foreign intervention or a call for foreign intervention at this time not a threat to the nation's sovereignty?
The constitution of this country gives every Nigerian the right to express his opinion. Obasanjo has that right. It's his fundamental right. Nobody can tame it. He spoke as a Nigerian citizen and as another statesman, as a stakeholder. He's a member of the state council, they call it Security Council. He attended the council meeting at Council of State meeting. Yes, a member of the Council of State. So he's a major stakeholder. Nobody can wish his opinion away. And his opinion is in line with what the citizen expects. So anybody trying to say because he's no longer in power, he cannot, Constitution does not prevent anybody from proffering solution to the problem of the nation in any way. Everybody is saying it. I am saying it too, that we need external help because internal solution appeared to be non-existent. OBJ was constitutionally right to express his opinion, which is in line with the expectation of the Nigerian public and even the international community. We need help. There's no two ways about it. What did you ask again, the other ambit of your question? The sovereignty, yes. I've told you that sovereignty is not absolute. If Nigeria is in disarray, like Somalia, for instance, if it becomes a first state tomorrow, will you still be talking of sovereignty? In fact, where is even the sovereignty? When terrorists and bandits can freely kidnap citizens, cut them away from schools, attack churches without any confrontation by the states. Are we still talking of sovereignty? Is this sovereignty of delusion or actual sovereignty? Sovereignty should go with responsibility. A government that cannot protect citizens and their property cannot be talking of absolute sovereignty to the exclusion of those who want to help. I think that is a paradox that it's irreconcilable.
About Nigeria's sovereignty as regards foreign intervention, following the issuance by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, of Nigeria being a country of particular concern. A lot of reactions trailed that. A lot of people saying America wanting to intervene, especially in the way that the American President Donald Trump did come to, you know, he was always very vocal and very assertive about this. A lot of people stemmed and talked about how much interference another country should have in Nigeria's affairs. So I want to ask you, what really are the legal limits of foreign military intervention or assistance in Nigeria, even as the insecurity spans per time?
Let me come very clearly. Intervention, I think some people who are not telling themselves the truth about the situation Nigeria has now been bedeviled with, that America is trying to breach our sovereignty. They have no right to enter a sovereign nation and intervene, that they want to invade. America never said they want to invade Nigeria. They said they want to deal with the terrorists that is plaguing the people of Nigeria. They are not starting it here. Terrorism has been fought by America in all parts of the world. I told you they fought ISIS in Syria. Syria is a sovereign nation, and they dealt with it. Pakistan is a sovereign nation. They went to Pakistan. They dealt with Osama bin Laden. They killed him there. So this is not the first America is coming in to fight terrorism in any area where they could spot it, any part of the world. So sovereignty does not protect terrorists. Sovereignty is to protect the Nigerian citizens and our territorial space. Those who are making us about American plan to invade? Nigeria is already under invasion. The invaders are already here with us. They've taken over territories. They are killing generals. They beheaded, they captured the general. They paraded him on social media. They killed him. And they sent out the video on Nigerian soil. Till now, we have not been able to arrest or apprehend those who did that. They are still there. They are still sending video and warnings. And it was after that we heard of Nigerian government spokesman say they are discussing with the terrorists, that they have a communication line. What does that suggest to you? Are we in grip of our sovereignty? If we are already under attack, a nation under invasion that has been invaded already, said they want to invade, who want to invade? Are you going to tolerate terrorist invasion? Then you say you won't allow decent intervention. If they kidnap Nigerians in dozens every day, and we keep paying ransom, where lies our sovereignty then? We are under attack. In fact, we have been overwhelmed. We should not pretend that we are in control of the situation. The situation has overwhelmed the system operators. Unless they want to bury their head in the sand like ostrich, pretending that all is well, when in fact, they are now at the mercy of bandits and terrorists, as reflected in all the activities and actions. So what are they talking about? America has the right to fight terrorism anywhere in the world. So what they are coming to do is to fight the terrorists, not to take over our territory. So we should separate attack on terrorists from invasion of the Nigerian state. What America intends to do is to deal with the terrorists as they have done elsewhere. I do not know how that affects our sovereignty. Are we protecting terrorism with our sovereignty? In fact, any state that is condoning terrorism and protect terrorism is right for invasion under the international law. But terrorism is an international crime. You cannot use your sovereignty, local sovereignty, to promote international criminality, which is terrorism. So if you harbor terrorists and you condone the activities on your soil, you are open to external aggression by those who do not want terrorism to flourish. That's just the truth.
Thank you so much, Matthew Edegase, a lawyer, seasoned lawyer and policy analyst who joined us in, delving into two very important issues this morning. One, the president's nominee list for ambassadorial positions, which has been forwarded to the Senate. What the political implications are. We did talk about that, and we also did talk about the state of insecurity in the country and the comments of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. I was also joined by the former NBA chairman, Benin, Pius Oiwo. Of course, we had a very great time in our Benin Network Center having very intelligent conversations about these issues. Up next is the conversation from our Abuja, network centers. Remember, it's 3 network centers, Benin, Abuja, and Lagos. They have a lot of insights for you. Meanwhile, we'll take a short break while we await their comments.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
over by people who are not part of the security of this country, who are men or who are areas and even governors. Nigerians, this is larger than that of California, so and they don't have a government areas. So what we have is the government have not been proactive enough. What government have done is to be reactionary and commit to add cosmetic measures to try to solve the security. It must be concrete effort to make sure that Nigerians are secured, that Nigerians can go to their farms and the farmers can be secured in their farms, and those who do whatever around this country peacefully without being without falling prey to these men of the underworld. So it's a terrible thing. And for the president, the former Olusegun Obasanjo just comment, we must collectively commend him that we still have somebody like that around, who is not playing lip service to people in power, who is not psychopathic in his attitude towards nation building. We must be grateful to him, because there are a lot of past leaders who are not also participating and speaking their mind. People say, oh, if you use the diplomatic channel, most of the time, those who power have corrupted their mind, does not listen to advice of the back door. It is when it's done publicly that actually makes them more, more put them on spectrum. Look today, only tweet from Trump, and look at the way the president have acted. Nigerians have complained day and night. Nigerians have come to television stations, people have protested and they were arrested, and there were no action from the government. A tweet from a co-equal sovereign state had put our president in jeopardy, and settled the presidency, including their making statements that are, that are not in terms with the reality of our time. So from this, you see that the former president Olusegun Obasanjo is doing the right thing, and we expect him to continue to do. Because one of the things with governance is that as soon as few people keep silent, keep quiet about the negative tendencies of the actions of those in power, then it has a broader negative effect on the collective citizens of the country. So it's clear and it's very important that we continue to speak up, and that these security challenges need the debate, because it has become something that has put fear in the hearts of people living in their houses. Abuja is not left out. Look at Buhari Area Council and other places are now being attacked. So we must return our country to the peaceful state it is. People talk about sovereignty. Sovereignty is not in its absolute nature, because in international and globalization and the global world today, what affects one country economically, culturally, and politically affects others. If Nigeria becomes totally unsettled, then you know that the West African countries will suffer immensely, and this effect will also affect, developed nations that today we take aid. We still take aid from the United States as the issue of security and others, and they are wondering what we are doing with the aid. They are wondering where these resources are going to. They are wondering why there's no too much action on the part of those in power to try to stop this menace. So nobody will tell you that the help is not needed. Now we need help for training of our personnel, for putting more resources and more boots into the armed forces, so that we can have more personnel that will work around the clock to make sure we control this situation. So it's clear that we need help, and that help, we should seek it with all sense of humility.
Okay, it's clear that we actually need some kind of support from foreign countries, but the comment of the former president, many say it's really not charitable when he said the Tinubu administration is not capable of securing Nigeria and Nigerians. They believe that is really not charitable, because the president, Tinubu has set up material in place to see how he can tackle this issue, to the extent that he declared state of emergency on insecurity. So for the former president to say he is not capable of securing Nigerians, do you align with them when he gave that kind of comment? Because people believe that it's not charitable.
What is the what capabilities has he shown that he can do that? We're talking about a sovereign state of Nigeria. I've seen it in my own lifetime. That we are negotiating with terrorists and we are giving them money. We are boosting the economic status of the terrorists. So what is it that the state of emergency have done to help? When it was the state of emergency declared, there were more politically state of emergency declared than security state of emergency. Please, there are serious issues. Let's go. There are serious issues that must be these things. Like you make a no worries, they come. I don't know. Hello, there are serious issues. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on, go on.
So there are serious issues that we must collectively sit down. We must call all those members, go take it to council of state, this security issue, and brief them properly. And show them, the president himself has not been communicated with Nigerians. He has not spoken with anybody on this issue. He just kept to himself.
No, I think he has been having meetings with his service chiefs. He has been discussing with them, and we have been seeing that they visit him regularly.
He was elected to be briefing us and telling us what he's doing to improve the life of our people. He's not treated that there's no communication. Even for presidents who are older than even President Donald Trump, who usually speaks to people. This president doesn't communicate with anybody. So you don't blame anybody when they form their private opinion as enshrined in Section 40. People have the right to hold opinion. People have the right to express opinion. People have the right, to speak freely. So when people form this opinion based on their silent treatment of the security issue, then I don't think anybody should be blamed for it.
Okay, let's also look at an aspect that the former president raised when he said, do not negotiate with bandits. We know that President Tinubu, to an extent, has not in any way negotiated with terrorists. I mean, there's no document anywhere. But we know that some states down the north have been negotiating. They even come for the negotiation with their arms, and pictures were taken. We also know some elder statesmen also negotiate with terrorists. We also have seen times that they take pictures to climax their negotiations or discussion. So those who have been negotiating with terrorists can be
partly responsible for the negotiation that's happening in those states. The government is responsible, totally is in charge of the commander and of the Nigerian Armed Forces. It's the one responsible for the appointment of the Nigerian police and promotion. So this government is partly responsible for all the negotiation happening in Nigeria. And if you say negotiation has not taken place, don't forget that they openly admitted that they spoke with the kidnappers of the KB people and they spoke the language they will understand and they returned the children. So there's a lot of negotiation even from the federal government level. So let's leave this act of trying to downplay the situation. Federal government should not negotiate with terrorists because negotiating with them give them a past sovereign authority of our. To still with them, give them that something level of power that they shouldn't even have at all. So that's just point to be made. There's no need to negotiate. Do whatever you need to do to put them out, and then make sure that they are destroyed so that we can get our country back. So that economic activity. And one critical thing they must take into mind is stated by C.G. Musa. C.G. Musa clearly said that whatever they do, we must make sure that we fence our border with Niger, with Chad. We must make sure that this border are fenced. Because look at Pakistan. Pakistan was between Pakistan and Afghanistan. It is when the border was fenced that there was peace. Look at Egypt and Gaza. Look at all the other countries. Look at what America is also doing. If you have nations around you that are in crisis and chaos, and you can, and most times, some of these nations speak Fulani and speak Hausa, and we leave our borders as porous as today, the more we eliminate, Nigeria becomes the commercial center for terrorism. Because what the value they get in terrorizing Nigeria, that such value will not be getting Mali, will not be getting in Chad, and will not be getting in any other country that they go to operate. So we must, as a country, do whatever we need to protect lives and property. Because this is the primary purpose for which government was formed. Everybody would have continued in the state of nature where strong men will hold on to their land, which is made. People would have continued that way, but government was put in place that we can collectively protect our rights, get our property, something more. Government on that part, important we say that.
Okay, so now, what do you think is the difficult thing, in tracing these bad guys? Phone calls at different times were made, which means the communication communication service provider can be able to take government as point as that. We're seeing some of us with dish guns, in celebration of their loot on Facebook, on Twitter, and even YouTube. Can we not have a way of discussing with the owners of these social media handles so that they can be able to tell us who uploaded? And then if you're able to trace who uploaded, then you will be close to getting those that are involved in this issue. What do you think is the problem? What do you think is difficult for the government to take advantage of the social media system of tracing?
I think they are mostly interested in their second term and their political power grab. I think that's just the reason, because I think in Kaduna, some young people have been arrested from posting videos. In other states, people get arrested from posting videos. They're not bad. People get arrested from posting videos. People get arrested for criticizing government. People are invited, for saying, look at that PMS that's invited. So government is concentrating more on the political atmosphere than concentrating on the security architecture that that is supposed to protect our collective rights. So for me, it's not about political or political will. The government today, you make a statement in the forest of Auchi or in the forest of Kogi, and you make that statement, you will find that government will find a way to be there in the next 5 hours, in the next 5 minutes. They will find a way to be there. So if government is not being there, and you see we lost a general in this war, and you look at the United States, just before what happened at the Capitol, where 2 presidents were shot. The president made a statement, the vice president moved there to the president with a helicopter. But in Nigeria, there was no comment from the presidency when the general was lost to terrorists. You just think that by making such statements, it shows some level of defeat, but it's not true. This is what encourages the troops. This is what encourages people who are putting their lives on the line. This is what encourages Nigerians to see that the president cares, because it's about compassionate, it's about being sympathetic towards the plight of people who have put their lives on the line to protect all our interests. So this is where that government has failed in a lot of ways. They have failed from the angle of showing compassion, from showing sincerity, from being sympathetic to the plight of those who are working for our interests, and they also failed from not putting necessary infrastructure in place to protect the life of property. So it's a combined force, both human and material resources that you put together to defeat this terrorism.
Okay, Chief Ame, the president, as a way of tackling this issue, said that they need to increase the number of police that should be involved in, doing their core job, policing, which he said those attached to VIPs should be withdrawn. Now, let me ask you, I know you are always attached with a heavily armed policeman. Has yours been withdrawn?
To the left of this, I'm not having, because we try to make sure that police remain for public use. Let me tell you something. 11,000 plus were withdrawn. Is that 11,000 enough to cover the gap that we have? No. The president in his statement said they will recruit thousands of people into the army. They will feed them with corn, feed them with cassava, àgbàdo. But up to now, with the Lubo, they have not recruited that. This is to show that statement made proud to his election, but just political statement. This is what you are seeing is a reactionary action. I don't think it will have any effect at the end of the day. You can't leave a former vice president without security. Are you going to leave a former governor?
So now, are you saying the VIPs will reject officers of civil defense when they are sent to?
No, they need it. Officers of civil defense are capable. A lot of people are using them. They are capable to secure. They should be able to train them more, recruit more. But the most important thing is to recruit and make sure that we mainstream technology, the technological use into the act of securing our country. Because there's this out of radar drone that people are using today. Drone. Nigeria has these resources. We can use it to pop up the areas in people are. America have come to take a person that was kidnapped within 5 minutes and left. So if we need assistance, we ask. If government can help themselves, government all over the world collaborate economically, politically, and through security security too. So we can isolate ourselves and say that no, we are suffering when we actually need help. We do need help. So we must consult and reach out to friends and allies.
All right. The president said the civil defense officers should be armed, and then be posted to VIPs. Do you think we have that kind of arms that they need to protect the VIPs?
They do.
So if we do, why don't we deploy such arms into the real issue?
No, they are not going enough. What we should do is mass recruitment can also show respect for those who have been recruited. Because if you look at our soldiers, because I grew up in the barracks, and I can tell you what affects war more than anything is the morale of the armed forces. If their morale is down, if their morale is low, if you are not paying them as a wage, if their DTA, their allowances are not reaching as a wage, you will not have a high morale. And if their colleagues are dying and you are not giving them befitting honor, then you will not have a high morale. So these are the challenges. You need to raise the morale of the forces and then recruit more. Because if you see soldiers fighting and people who are getting involved will get encouraged that these soldiers have been treated, they are living well in their barracks, their wives are looked after, their benefits are paid after they died in service, you will see that more people will be interested in fighting. But not that the soldier died and the family is struggling to get their entitlement. This is the government, because if you have a president that is bad and it has know this country well, or know how to do it, you don't need advice. So see what I'm telling you. I grew up in the barracks. I can't lie. It's the best decision I had. The fact that this soldier is good thing. This kinetic application you are trying to apply to apply more the soldiers to see itself valued as a servant in this country, valued in this country. Look, for the women that are waking up in my life, use lot of benefit and living better life. So you need to look at the reality of this situation and try to treat the inequality within the system. If these inequalities are treated, then there will be more opportunity and there will be more other.
Okay, so as we attempt to round up the discussion, High Chief, do you think with what we have on the ground, the body language of the president now declaring state of emergency on insecurity, which means that there will be more deployment of resources, increase in personnel, do you think that he will be able to win the war against terror?
Now, I've not seen any changes. I've seen the not able to block the loopholes and the wastages. Today, we see the audit report from the NMPC that says that 3.5 trillion was spent in pipeline security. I don't know where they said 70 point when it was at 12 years payment prior before the arrival of the president. You know, today we are seeing that the president is 7.1 trillion for subsidy when the subsidy was gone in 2023 and they paid in 2024. So our basic issue is that we prioritize the security architecture of our country, put more resources there. If you put more resources there and we see and you show more interest, you will see that security will improve. So now I will take the president's word just as the face value of the statement until I see concrete action being taken before I can now do proper appraisal and say yes, this decision have led to second recovery, have led that it's a part of Zamfara, part of Kebbi, part of Sokoto, part of Katsina State that are under control of the bandits and now recover. We just heard from the House of Rep member that the Kenji Park in Niger State have been taken over by bandits. So we need to see all this recovery of land. We need to see Nigeria return to a peaceful and a democratic state that is governed and protected, and citizens' interests and rights are protected. Then we now start to appraise the level of the state of emergency, whether it was just rhetoric or action.
Thank you so much, High Chief Peter Ame, former chairman of IPAC, for your time with us on the program this morning. I'm sure what you have said is something that if authority can work with, there will be some kind of a bit of relief at the end of the day. Thank you so much for your time with us. All right, viewers, we now move to Lagos Network Center for continuation of the program, TMI.
Thank you so much, Joseph Kadri from Lagos this beautiful morning. Once again, happy new month to you out there. It's a beautiful day here in Lagos, and I'm excited. It's the month of Christmas, and I'm excited, yeah? Good morning. Our guest here this beautiful morning that would be helping us analyze speak is Dr. Dayo Kayode. He is a political analyst. Hello, Dr. Dayo. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you? And I'm so surprised that you're excited. It's Christmas month. But the question is, go out. How many people are excited?
Yeah.
Because people are hungry and angry.
Of course. I'm definitely going to be talking about when I said I'm excited, but at the same time, I know a lot is going on out there in insecurity. Waking up by the day, getting different, messing different stories, internet on insecurity. It really sad. And Nigerians have been asking, and they still keep asking, is the lasting solution to insecurity? I mean, we saw a video of Obasanjo where he said that the insecurity has started since when he was president in Nigeria, and a lot of presidents are saying that you're not supposed to even say that. I mean, we are looking for a lasting solution. Are we supposed to be negotiating with bandits in Nigeria? That is not our main major focus on today's TMI. Of course, we just throw light on that because it's still trending, in Nigeria this beautiful morning. Our main focus from Lagos, it's Tinubu's fresh ambassador list. What does mean for Nigeria? What is next for Nigeria? Tinubu just appointed 2 ambassadors. What is next for Nigeria? I am Marcelina Unko. Once again, thank you so much for joining Lagos Network Studio this beautiful morning on TMI. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent a fresh list of 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate, a list of career diplomats and big names. This nearly ends 2 years of Nigerian operating without full ambassadors in many countries. But the question today is, are these appointments about strengthening Nigeria's diplomacy, or are they politically removed? Because a lot of persons are saying that the list, they are not okay. A lot of speculation saying most of this list, they're actually not okay with it. But I mean, we have our head would help us analyze this particular topic. As we all know, ambassadors represent Nigerians abroad, protect Nigeria in their host countries, promote trade and investment, and manage services and build diplomatic, political, and economic ties that benefit the nation. And recently, 32 ambassador has been appointed by the president, and a lot of people are looking. Dr. Dayo saying, is this the right time to appoint this 32 ambassador? What is your take on this? Do you think it's the right time?
Yes, let me first of all congratulate ITV being part of those athletes that brought up the conversation. It was find that it's becoming and non-becoming for Nigeria not to have their ambassadors abroad. And thank God I was also part of the discussion. I think about a week or 2 weeks ago, and here we are. That means part of the pressure on the men of Nigeria came from how we are having these people's. The question now is, what qualifies to be an ambassador? Is it when one can say, listen, I can never Tinubu if he's been elected as president, this is and that, or Tinubu is a drug addict, or Tinubu told this, or Tinubu did that along the line? Was that one that qualifies one to be an ambassador like that of Omokri? Omokri?
Yeah.
That had been on the heels of Bola Tinubu over the years, but all of a sudden turned around. Because here is somebody who said it, that he can never. So what has changed? Or it's part of the qualifications. is during the election, if you are being made the man of INEC and then you are now conducting election, you can decide to say, yes, there is a glitch. There is a glitch. And with that, then eventually clinch the presidency. Is that another qualification? Because I wouldn't expect somebody of Mahmoud's stature who cannot conduct a free and fair election to now be representing us abroad. Because I can assure you, news stations in wherever it's being posted to will bring up that issue to him. And you can trust all those. They don't give a hoot. They bring it up. That was it. Gbajabiamila. Was Gbajabiamila not queried by one news agency as regards the 20, was it $20,000 or $2,000 issue that he had with his client that did not give to his, and he was now replying them, I wouldn't know how to look your client. I have not been locating your client before the court decide how money should be paid through the money you can client. I mean, okay. So surely he'll be taking up on that. He'll be taking up. When you said there was a glitch, why, so what were you, so did you resolve the glitch? You continue? He'll be asked, what will he say? And that will now affect the reputation of Nigeria. Will they believe in Nigeria? At the moment of has been showing a kind of flashes of integrity, flashes of zero integrity. They will say, Nigeria is supposed to send its best people. Are you the best? If this is the best Nigeria can send, then we don't trust that country.
If this is the best Nigeria,
yes, they won't trust their country. If this is the best in a mockery that they can say, then now they trust Nigeria. If it's the best in a Femi fight, how will we trust the country? I was looking through one of the reminiscent photographs, just this. Shari, former president of Nigeria, I think in the Second Republic or so, was moving in Soyibos, and they fought on and it was from them. Gambari, Alaji Gambari, when he was our permanent representative in the United Nations, when it's working like this, you see every other person around. Before they can take any decision, even in America of today, then, and UK, and Canada, before they can take a decision, they want to first feel what's going to be the reaction of the Nigerian government. They always consider, where are we to? And this is set of people, the best set of that we can send as ambassadors that will make the whole world to turn back that hand of clock to Nigeria of yore, whereby when Nigeria sneezes,
they're out there to represent Nigeria. Okay, let's look at
after 2 years. These are the people you can come up with,
Dr. Dyer. Dr. Dyer, let's look at it in terms of geopolitical representation and competence. How balanced do you think that is?
Is, unfortunately, I have never
Okay.
believed in federal character. I've always been a man of city and character. So even when names are not all that, I don't want to look at where you come. I don't give a hoot to Nigeria. Whether Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, Yoruba, or Ibibio, all I'm looking for is good governance and a situation whereby anywhere I go in the world, respect me as a Nigerian. I have seen a situation before that I traveled to the US through a Sunday. I was traveling from UK to US on a Sunday. And because I was holding a green passport, I was asked to sign. Although the officer that asked me to sign, he regretted it that day. They regretted that airport that day because they knew one Dayo Kaudi was passing through the airport that day because of my green passport, and it's honestly their fault.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
because the way our have portrayed us outside. Look at us begging for money everywhere, but they know that our leaders are also keeping our money with them. So for me, I don't, whether the old ambassadors are from the north or from the south or from the east, it's none of my issue. I don't even look. I'm looking at the personality, the type of the kind of people that you are sending out to represent us. Are they our best? No, are they our best? Why must you stay till this time? Till people started shouting before doing this. You can imagine. Immediately, I think, immediately we finished our discussion here. That very day, on the day, the following day, he picked two people. What's their name again? Then send one to the US, send one to the. So you mean with a nation from inside and outside, you will have done it. To me, it's appalling. Everything about this government. It's just.
Dr. Dayo, I mean, we talk about it has taken too long. I mean, it's almost 2 years, you know, without ambassadors in Nigeria. And now suddenly appoint 32, the president appoints 32. Now, would you say that does it restore confidence in Nigeria or raise concern about the stability, consistency of our foreign policy?
It has even removed the little confidence remaining.
Because that's taking too long.
Not only that, because of the array of personalities being pushed forward. People that are not really having complete or an integrity that can be vouched for. Integrity that Nigerians cannot vouch. Tell me, who in Nigeria will vote for Femi Fani-Kayode? I won't vote for him. I won't vote for Omokri that I've been talking from two sides. Now will I vote for Mahmoud because of that glitch incident? I mean, okay, for instance, look at. What's his name again? Good Lord, at people in Nigeria is now bring out. Not people with consistency. Not people with consistency. Check them out. All of them are on that list. Check them out. One with the other. One the other. Say no. Tinubu will be the president. Tinubu is this. Tinubu is that. This is and that. After what happened, when they are that faces. What happens to the integrity of Nigeria in where they are representing us?
So
tell me, who will want to, because of them, bring business within the Committee of Nations? To what extent? We all knew when he traveled to the Emirates. When he came back, he was saying something, and the Emirates turned back to say, no, we didn't say it, we didn't have this agreement with you. Isn't it? You remember? And in two, three other places like that. So the issue now is the way I see it, and why I never bothered myself when he was going to come up with this. Bet of the same always flock, and that's it. Bets of the same feather always flock together. An apple tree will never fall outside the tree. So that's the issue. But these people will restore our national confidence in the outside world to be bringing businesses here. I doubt it.
Looking at the insecurity level, Dr. Victor, looking at Dr. Dio.
Victor. I'm also Victor.
Dr. Dio, Victor. Hi. Okay. Looking at the
because we are seeing the flop.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain, which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity